Folks, I hope you're doing well, and welcome to episode 12 of WAPTSS, aka We All Practice the Same Stuff. If you don't already know, this is a series where every other week I'll be bringing us all a technique or an exercise for us to practice together. And if you want to learn more about the series, I'd highly recommend checking out episode 1. Today we're going to be talking about this pretty interesting technique called Rasqueado. Every WAPTSS needs a shtick, and today, for the first half of the video, I'll be replacing the word Rasqueado with some other similar words accompanied by a picture. For example, Colorado. Enjoy. So a real quick overview of what macchiato is. It's a technique where you're using your right hand, and instead of strumming in like we normally do, instead we're going to be throwing our fingers out to create a strumming pattern, typically very fast and very rhythmic. Over the last couple of years, especially this year, it has blown up on YouTube because of this dude named TV on Guitar. Anybody who watches this guy play can obviously tell that his avocado is nuts. He has obviously spent years perfecting the flavor, consistency, and texture of his avocado. And now everyone and their mothers wants to watch avocados. Heck, even I used armadillo in a recent arrangement I did. More behind the history of this technique. Not very many people know this, but the Pilgrims, they fled their land and crossed the sea, not only because of religious persecution, but also because of Rastafarian persecution. Their fingers were moving so fast that the other people thought it must be witchcraft, so they kicked them out. So they crossed the sea, settled in the US, taught the Native Americans the technique of Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto, and lived in harmony together forever. And that's the full history of Ross and Rachel. Now, if you're somebody who wants to be anybody, and I know you're somebody who wants to be anybody, then you need to learn this rotten tomato technique. First, this isn't necessary, but I think it's very useful to tune your guitar to drop D. That way we're not really focused on what we're doing with the left hand, we can just focus on the right hand and it will still sound okay. Okay, now I only know how to use one type of Rasqueado technique, so that's what I'll be teaching you guys today. And it's a pretty flexible, versatile technique, so it can be used in a lot of different situations. But basically we're going to be using our 3 fingers, and we're going to be starting with the ring finger, middle finger, pointer finger, and the last stroke is just bringing the pointer finger back in. And then it resets to ring, middle, pointer, pointer, ring, middle, pointer, pointer, ring, middle, pointer, pointer. So very slowly it would sound something like this. Now something you may notice is happening is that on that last stroke in with your pointer finger, you need to begin to prepare your ring finger for the next stroke. So you'll go out, 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 and when you bring this one in, the other fingers also come in so that you're ready for the next stroke again. So like I said, these fingers can also be very versatile. You can change the rhythm and change it to maybe triplets. So for example, you could do a short triplet burst like this. Or you can also use them for 16th notes. And then if you need to, you could also omit the ring finger and just use these 2 fingers if you need a shorter group of notes. What's really neat about Rasqueado and practicing it is that it's not a really precise technique, so you can practice it pretty much anywhere that you are. So a lot of the times when I'm at school and I'm teaching, I'll just use my arm and just sit there and practice with my fingers. This helps get the muscle memory going and will also help you build strength in your right hand. And of course, with any exercise and technique, and especially this one, I'd really recommend slowly practicing this, especially if you're new to Rasqueado. Because this technique is so focused on rhythm, like that's the main thing that people are hearing out of this, you really want it to sound smooth and even. So don't worry about going too fast right away. Just slowly over time build it up and you'll get there eventually. As far as how to practice this, I'd recommend 2 different ways. One, you can just do a continuous loop of the 4 fingers. So like we talked about, we go ring, middle, pointer, pointer, making sure to prep the ring for the next stroke and then just continue. You could also just practice it in bursts. So for example, if we look at that triplet burst that I showed you, you could just do. Or if you wanted to do a 16th note burst, you could do. Probably just sprinkling in a little bit of both would be beneficial. But again, just make sure you're practicing slow and even. Folks, I want to thank you so much for watching episode 12 of WAPTSS. If you've been following along with the series and you haven't already, I'd highly recommend hitting that subscribe button and joining the Discord below. Let me know if you're excited about Rasqueado, and also let me know if there's any other techniques that you'd be interested in looking at and practicing. That's going to be everything for today. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and happy practicing.